Hello everybody, and welcome back to another Legion-related video. So, most likely you've hit level 110 by now, and you've entered into the dungeon spam situation with Legion. You're getting gear, and you're gearing up, but when it comes to the dungeons, some are of course better than others. So, these are my top 5 favorite dungeons in Legion, and keep in mind, these are just my opinions. Number 5. Nefarian Slayer. Now, Nefarian Slayer automatically gets points because it's in a big, giant, scary cave with these rock monster creatures and giant worm monsters and, giant rock monster boss. It's pretty cool. Nefarian Slayer is one of my favorites because I do enjoy the look of the dungeon. I don't feel like it takes that long to do, especially once you know how to skip most of the trash. I feel that the boss fights are okay for what they are. They feel appropriate to the dungeon. Although I will say that I don't particularly enjoy that one boss fight with the dude that turns into the potted plants and he spins around and you gotta find the right potted plant and attack it. I don't like that fight. But for the most part, the dungeon is really cool. You got those cool Deathwing vibes going on since, this was like his lair or whatever. So that's pretty cool. And it's great. I like it. Number 4. The Vault of the Wardens. Now, I've seen some people talking smack about Vault of the Wardens, and honestly, I don't see it. I love this dungeon. First of all, it's the fact that it's the Demon Hunter starting zone, but in reverse. It's kind of like you're going back. Second, you're going deep underground. You just go deeper and deeper throughout the course of the dungeon, and that's cool. You also have that really cool light mechanic, which I like it. I think it's pretty cool, and I love the Cordana Fellsong fight. Overall, the dungeon just has this really corrupted and kind of creepy feel going on, especially during the dark part at the end with the spiders and all the creepy Spirit of Vengeance ghosts and stuff. I know some of my friends that I play with in the guild don't like Vault of the Wardens, but you know what? I like it. So you guys can shut up. Number 3. Black Rookhold. Black Rookhold definitely makes my top 3 because, number 1, Black Rookhold, it just looks incredible, and the music in it is incredible. You start off at the bottom in the crypts and you fight that really creepy as hell Raven Mariguar monster, which is awesome. Then you make your way up the fortress, you fight giant spiders, you go through the hallways and the corridors and everything, and ultimately it concludes at the top where you fight Ravencrest himself. The dungeon has a very nice progression of scenery changes since you start kind of underground and then it gets more refined and you get to go outside and stuff and see the rest of the zone outside of the fortress, and I think that's awesome. Everything also has a very lovely shade of purple on it, and as we all know, if there is one color that represents true evil, it is purple, and I like purple. In terms of the boss fights, I think the bosses are pretty fun. I do like the fact that at the end you get that little surprise, which I'm not going to say what it is, but get that little lore surprise going on at the end with the final boss fight, so that's pretty exciting. For the most part, I think it's an awesome dungeon. It quickly made my top 3 when I first did it, and it's great. Number 2, Maw of Souls. Now, if you don't put Maw of Souls in your top 3 in terms of your favorite dungeons, man, I don't know what's wrong with you. First of all, when you first go into Maw of Souls, you think, okay, I'm just going to be walking along, and this is going to be some sort of, coast side, Helheim instance, whatever. Then you blow a big horn, and then the next thing you know, you're on a boat. And then you have that awesome reveal when you get to walk outside and you see all the waves, and you see all the tornadoes, and you have all the freaking seaweed Vrykruel and stuff everywhere attacking you. In terms of creative visual design, this instance just instantly wins. I mean, you're on a boat, sailing through this raging storm. It's so cool looking. However, the only downside of this instance is the Helya fight at the end is kind of, whatever. But for the most part, it's awesome. The rest of the bosses feel fine. You get a lot of throwbacks to Northrend. You get put in a cage, which you can, just easily push open because I guess the seaweed Vicryl forgot about this thing called locks. But whatever. Mauve Souls is great, but there's only one dungeon that beats it. Number 1, Violet Hold. Dude, what can I say about Violet Hold, man? Violet Hold is probably the most incredible dungeon that has ever come out of World of Warcraft. Number 1, Darkheart Thicket. So Darkheart Thicket is my favorite dungeon in Legion. Now you might be asking, why? The first reason is I am a big fan of druids and druid lore, and I think the nightmare stuff is really cool, it's really creepy, and I like it. Number 2, I think the dungeon is very interesting in the fact that you kind of start on the outside of the tree, and then you end up on the inside of the tree. I think that's kind of interesting. Number 3 is the fact that Malfurion is just sick burning Xavius throughout the entire instance. But I think what sells it for me is it just feels good. There's a good handful of trash that you can skip once you know how to do it. It doesn't feel like it takes that long to complete. The bosses feel appropriate to a dungeon. They don't feel too hard and they don't feel too easy. They just kind of have that middle ground where you just have to keep your head turned on just enough. And overall, I just think it's really cool with some really cool music and some great ambience and some great characters and a great layout, and it's great. And also, there's the fact that the Oakheart boss drops some really cool puns. And who doesn't like puns? Yeah. So far in Legion, I'm gonna give Darkheart Thicket my number 1. Let's see if Karazhan can beat it in 7.1, because I loved Karazhan back in Burning Crusade. Alright guys, thank you all for watching, and what is your favorite Legion dungeon so far? Because I know that not everybody's going to say Darkheart Thicket, but although most people of course are going to say Darkheart Thicket because Darkheart Thicket is just so good. Anyway, what is your favorite dungeon? Are you enjoying the dungeons overall in Legion? And what is your worst? And what do you consider to be the worst dungeon in Legion? Although I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to that. Leave a comment below, I am reading them, and I will talk to you all in my next video. Goodbye, friends. Farewell.